All right, hello, folks. Wednesdays are a weird schedule, so I've already met with the Lawrence Nelson kids, and now I'm meeting with like the Blue Hill kids because we have kind of a little bit of a different time on Wednesday. So that's why I'm recording this not through Zoom. It's fed through YouTube, whatever. Okay, we just did the homework problems 5 and 6 together, so I'm putting them up on the screen right now. If you want to pause it, this is what we got for like all of our mess and stuff. Like here, I think is the answer for part A. Here's for part B. I don't know for sure. So if you need to pause and look through that and see what you got and compare it, go for it. 6, what we got was down here. So if you need to pause and look that over, there is that. And then we will get started with what we're doing today. So there you go. Okay. All right. You guys have your pink sheet, yeah? Blue Hill has a pink sheet. Lawrence kids, yours might just be white because I didn't run them off for you. I put theirs on pink because my Blue Hill kids lose stuff like nobody's business. So hopefully you have this sheet. This is maybe just on a white sheet of paper for you. But we, the first couple days back from Christmas break, we did these first 3 boxes right here. Okay? So, do you guys have, yeah, do you guys have these first 3 lines done? Blue Hill. First 3 lines? Okay, so here's the deal. Are you ready? This is your preview into what the test is going to be compiled of. Okay? We did 6-1, 6-2. Those were kind of like blended together because it's just like a little, like they're the same kind of thing. Where we did just calculating basic z-scores. 6-3 was the section, I don't know if you remember this, where you had like a big table and they gave you 3 numbers and you had to pick 2 of the numbers and then you had to calculate the mean, median, mode, range, whatever it was, right? Like all that good stuff, okay? I am not going to make you do section 6-3 stuff on the test. So you will not have to do that. So if you're wondering why on the review there are no 6-3 questions, that's why. We also skipped over section 6-5. So if you're looking for 6-5 stuff, it is not there. So all we have is 6-1, 6-2, 6-4, 6-6. Got it? Here is what you need for, we're adding 6-6 today. Okay, so here's what I want you to write down for 6-6. This should be like maybe your 4th row. Okay, so write down 6-6, normal approximation for binomial. I'm going to write some formulas and stuff in here. I left my example so I didn't have to come up with a new example. Because I already did this with the Lawrence kids. So I didn't want to have to rewrite. So that's why I have stuff that you don't have. What?
Did you use the plain one?
I used a non-stupid plain one. Like no hats involved and that crap. Okay, so we used a better plain example. So write this down, we'll do formulas. Here we go. Are you good? You ready? Okay. All right. We need to, for normal approximation, we need to find a z-score. And z-score is x minus mu over the standard deviation. Easy peasy. Except mu. How do we calculate mu? N times p. How do we find the standard deviation?
N times p times q square root.
NPQ square root. Now, one other thing that I will add, and it is this x guy right here. He is not the x that they give to you. You have to use the continuity correction number. Okay, and we'll talk about, like, that's the 0.5 number on either side, whichever side you need to put it. Does that make sense? Use that 0.5 number. Okay, so make sure you mark that. That is that. All right, I'm gonna scoot over. Can I scoot over? Yeah. You guys got all that written down? Okay, so this is just an example for down lower. So if you want to put that, this is the problem that we're going to be dealing with. Okay, I'm adding this part on later. So if you want to just write that down, that's the problem that we're going to be dealing with, solving to the right. 25% of planes arrive late, typically. That's a made up number. It shouldn't be that high. But I'm just saying 25% of planes are arriving late. If I have 400 planes total, find the probability that exactly 120 of them are late. Okay, that's what we're solving for right now. I'll give you a second to write that down. there's the other stuff if you want to write that down. This part down below here, we're just going to talk about what continuity correction number you would use if I were to ask that instead, okay? So we're going to solve this one. Doing exactly 120 is the hardest one because you have to find 2 z-scores. That's why I gave that one to you as an example. These ones are a little bit easier because you only have to do 1 z-score, but you have to know which CC number you're using, right? Okay, so we'll talk about all that. Are we ready for the example? Are we ready to go through it? Okay, here are things that you need. We need to know N, we need to know P, we need to know Q, we need to know mu, we need to know standard deviation, we need to know Z, and we need like the X value that I'm going to use. I'm going to put him like over here, X equals. Okay? All right. Oh, formula for mu is N times P. I'll put those in here too. NP, square root of NPQ. Z is X minus mu over standard deviation. I'm just recopying those from over here. Okay, I start with a bell curve first. All right. N equals, what's the N out of my example? What is N? 400. What's P? 0.25. I try to give you nice numbers, right? Q is 0.75. Okay, N time, if we do the average, if 25% of planes are late and we're dealing with 400 planes, approximately how many would be late? That's 25% of 400, which is 100, right? A fourth of 400 is 100. So the average number of planes that are late is 100. With a standard deviation, if you do NPQ, so square root of 400 times 0.25 times 0.75, I think you get like 14 point something. Does somebody have that number?
8
No.
Yeah.
8.66. That's right. I don't know why I'm thinking 14. Anyway, 8.66. That's my standard deviation. That is correct. Okay. We are wanting to know the probability of exactly 120 being late. That is your X value, but we're going to change him. Okay. Where does 120 live on my bell curve? Why are we always doing to the right? We're always doing to the right. I'm sorry. I should give you one that's to the left, but whatever. Okay. 120. Now, here's the problem. Everybody listen to this. If we just did the z-score with 120 and got a z-score, then looked it up on the chart, that's going to give us from here on back. True? Okay. Let's say then I subtract it from 1. That's going to give me here on this way. I want to know exactly, but none of those things are going to give me exactly. That's why you have to do the slice of bread. So I have to like take it as a little sliver, right? I make that slice of bread look really big, but like typically like it's a really skinny slice of bread. Anyway, so instead of using 120 as an X, I'm going to have 2 X's to use. The first one on the left side, 119.5, and the other one, 120.5. Then we have to do 2 z-scores, right? Yeah. Okay. So first z-score, I'm going to do 1 there and 1 there. I don't know if you guys are running out of room. This is the only thing we're going to write down on the sheets. If you need to bleed into the next thing, you sure can. Okay? We'll get a new sheet for chapter 7. Okay? There you go. All right, so Z. I'm going to put, do you know which one I put on the top? I put the bigger number. I put 120.5. It doesn't matter, but eventually we're going to end up subtracting numbers, and I want the bigger one on the top. So 120.5 minus, what are we subtracting? 100, that's the average. Divided by the standard deviation, 8.66. We get a number, and then we do 119.5 minus 100 over 8.66. And they should just be like slightly smaller numbers. I want to say like 2.47 maybe. No. 37. 2.37. 25. Yeah, 2.37, 2.25. Okay, now what?
Find the
Some people are tempted to subtract those numbers. Don't subtract them. Don't subtract them. Find the p value first. So 2.37, if you look it up on the chart, is like 0.99 something. I don't know.
0.9911.
0.9911. That sounds familiar. Okay, if you look it up on the chart. Okay, now look up 2.25 on the chart. .9878. Cool. Now what? Now subtract, right? One is saying from here on back, the other one's saying from here on back. If I subtract those two, that'll give me like the length of that little sliver, right? If I subtract those, you get like 0.0033. Yeah? Which is 0.33%. Or you can just leave it as 0.0033. I don't care. What did that just tell us?
Probability that exactly 120.
Yes, there is a less than 1% chance, like a 0.33% chance that exactly 120 planes are late, right? As opposed to like 121 planes that are late, 122 planes that are late, right? Exactly 120 planes late has a less than 1% chance of happening. Got it? Okay. All right. Anything else with that problem? Let's say instead I say fewer than 120. We're not going to do this whole thing, but 120 would be here, 120 would be here, 120 would be here, 120 would be here. Let's figure out what CC number or what 0.5 number you would use. Okay? If I say strictly fewer, have you guys written this down? Do I need to pause? I'll pause for a second. So we won't do these all the way through, but like if I would say that, what does that mean? We'll write those down.
Probably soon.
Oh, okay. Okay, hold on. Fewer than 120. Fewer than 120.
Like a thermometer.
119.5 and below. Greater than 120. 120.5 and above. 120 or more.
Well,
Hey,
you're.
119.
Oh, I just quit. No, it didn't.
Just
It
say
didn't.
numbers.
He's still there.
Just say numbers.
Right with that. Okay, here we go. 120 or more. What are you going to use?
119.
119.5 and above, because it wants to include 120. Okay? 120 or less. 120.5 and below. Okay? So those would be the numbers that you would use to put in your Z score. Got it? Perfect. Okay. You guys all have the review. Tomorrow we're going to work on review problems. Just if you're wondering, on the review, if you're going to be gone tomorrow, here's how this breaks down. On the review, I very nicely listed what section each one comes from. So like parts 1, 2, and 3, number 1, 2, and 3 comes from section 6.1. Number 4, 5, and 6 comes from section 6.2, etc. You see how this works? So you know where to look for the information if you don't know? Got it? Okay, we're going to work on that tomorrow. There you go. Okay. Wednesdays are awful schedule days. Okay, goodbye people watching this video.